the ruling planet. And this is where you find the inner male energy or the mental body. So you'll find always in a tree of life, you have the mother and father on the same balanced level. There's no hierarchy in the sense of that. And you have the male and female on the same level in that sense. So it's all about balancing your mental and emotional body. One is not superior than the other, the same way that male is not superior to female, nor is female superior to male. They need to come together to create a holism and a unity, a true trinity from their equilibrium that gives birth to something new.
Wow.
Yeah, that's referenced all the time in the tree.
Okay, and Mercury would be the planet. Raphael is the archangel, and Beni Elohim.
Benai Elohim. The sons of God, yeah.
Sons of God. That's the name of a group of angels?
The angels, yeah.
And they help Raphael. Okay, and now we get to number 9, which is
Yesod.
Yesod, which is the purple circle near the bottom. And Yesod means foundation.
And this connects to your second chakra, your sexual center area.
And God's name here is Shaddai El Chai.
El Chai. Shaddai El Chai.
El Chai.
Yeah, Almighty living God.
Okay, now the moon is the planet there. Gabriel is the archangel, and the cherubim are the
cherubim, where cherubim were called, yes.
Right, and they're the angels that help Gabriel.
And this is the second chakra, and it's interesting that you have the balance of the sun and moon present one above the other in the tree of life. Again, the kind of hidden yin yang aspect that we need to shine the light of the sun into our second chakra where the moon is dwelling in order to really be able to purify, because the foundation of the tree of life is based in the sexual energy, which is really fascinating if we look at it that way and see how much of distortion and idea of sin has been cast on that area. You can understand that there are certain forces that try to block the flow of the Creator's light from really grounding itself to create the new kingdom by creating so much fear and diversionary distractions in that region of the collective mind. So it's a little deeper level of it, but yeah. So that's one reason why we need to purify it as well as enjoy that area, but make it connected to the rest of our being, so we can bring love into the sexuality and sacred spirituality into sexuality. Is an important gateway to really grounding the power of the tree and creating a clear birthing canal towards the next center, which is Malchut.
Malchut, yes. Malchut is number 10, which is way on the bottom of the chart there.
Yeah, it's basically connects to the root chakra as well as the feet.
And that's kingdom. Adonai Haaretz.
Adonai Haaretz.
Haaretz.
Yep, Lord God of the earth.
Lord God of the earth. Good, and the earth is the planet.
Yes.
And Sandalphon.
Sandalphon, yes.
Is the archangel. And Ashim.
Ashim, yes.
Are the angels that help Sandalphon.
Yeah.
Now you have one last one here that doesn't seem to be.
Well, that's a reference to what is traditionally known as the 11th center, or the sephira that is a sephir but not a sephir. It's almost like a Zen cone, and that is the circle towards the top area that looks very light on the actual chart.
Right.
And this relates to the throat chakra. It's called Da'at, and this is an area that means knowledge, and this is more of a longer topic, but it's where you find the underworld, or the idea of the abyss in the tree of life. And or the idea of Adam's apple, as men have the Adam's apple in their throat center. Right. It's a reference, if you cut an apple in half, it forms the shape of a 5-pointed star. There's a pentagram present in the apple, which is a hidden reference to the 5th chakra that connects to the throat center. In this case, it's where you find the center of Da'at.
No, I never noticed that.
And this is why Venus, and the idea of the goddess holding the apple, because Venus, or the sign Taurus in astrology, rules the throat center.
So if you slice an apple in half and
you'll
look at
still see
it,
the 5 lines that would go from the center of a pentagram.
Really?
Yeah, which is why it's a sacred geometry fruit. It holds power because a pentagram is a very powerful symbol that's been used by many occult traditions for many millennia.
Such as the Wiccans.
Yeah, and Da Vinci, and long before that, back in the day, even during the days of Solomon, and during the day of Plato, because it's a powerful symbol where each of the 5 points represents one of the elements. Even in a Chinese medicine, they use the pentagram as a representation of the 5 elements.
Wow.
And so it's found all around the world in different levels. But it's a gateway to knowledge, and so the idea of the knowledge of good and evil is referenced here in the Tree of Life in terms of the idea of the beginning of the Bible of Genesis. So this is the idea, this is the part of Tree of Life that has to do with accessing more the shadow side of the collective unconscious, which is why it's important to heal, because we need to bring light and love to the shadow realm so we can be able to have a strong foundation and not have it fall.
The shadow realm meaning darkness?
All the shadows. It doesn't have to be necessarily just pure negativity. It could just be any unresolved, say, issues in your life or stuck energies, blockages, negative qualities or habits that don't really serve your highest good. Those areas, any parts where we feel fragmented or out of touch with love, oftentimes those areas become shadows because they don't have light on them in that sense. They haven't been integrated, or we have guilt or fears or anger. That's excessive. Those are regions in there. But also in the Tree of Life, Da'at is a region where you can access your past lives and where the Akashic records are found. So it's a very powerful center because it lies just below the top three, and is a point where one of the deeper symbolism is that the top three centers, because you're dealing with galactic cosmic light before there was real form or real structure. And in the way Pluto, which rules this center here, that rules Scorpio in astrology, which is the underworld. It's the depths of the collective consciousness. So in a way, it rules the atomic level. And so it's a hidden allusion to the galactic light of the top three centers that cover a huge distance, focusing their energy into a beam of light into the atomic. And then once it builds up the light into the atomic level, matter is created. And you have the releasing of light, the 7 rays that form the rest of the tree. And it's a tangible form, because when you get down to Malchut, that's when you actually have solid earth. And this is about showing us that in the Tree of Life, the earth was seen as so sacred, because it was the cup, it was the distillation of the entire Tree of Life brought into it, like a big feng shui waterfall, where all the colors and textures of the Creator's desire to fulfill itself, to know itself, culminates at the bottom of the Tree of Life. Very different than our traditional, Catholic distortion of hell being beneath our feet and projecting negativity on Mother Earth. It's the exact opposite, saying no, the most sacred energy of the Shekinah, of the Mother, is found below our feet in the earth. And in the Tree of Life, it's written that it shines with the brilliance of 1,000 suns below us. So it's really amazing to see that we can access that sacredness of what the indigenous tribes knew already, and that we're simply just reminding ourselves that we need to go back to that basic idea.
True.
Yeah.
A lot of people are under the misimpression that heaven's up there and hell's down there, where actually it's right next, both of them are right next to us.
Yes.
And just in another dimension, and souls that are in heaven and hell are right there.
Yeah, and it's the lower astral plane that has become more of the corruptible area that people refer to as hell. This is where it's like different layers of oil and water settling, because of their vibration. It doesn't mean that it's a cursed realm. It just means that's where like vibration attracts like vibration. So it's an area that needs to be cleaned out. You wouldn't want to judge your sewage treatment plant and say that evil exists there. It's where you clean up the waste. But if you have too much waste, you can't really fertilize your soils, and it becomes just a pile of manure that's creating a nuisance. So the same way with our own personal shadow and collective shadow. You're not going to judge where lower energies reside. You need to do something about it, like clean it up, bless it, forgive it, transmute it. You don't want to condemn somebody to that. You don't want to, that's like telling someone to move from their condo to a sewage dump. It's wouldn't tell that to someone. So it's a very brass analogy, but just to make the point come across. So the idea is the more you can activate the tree in your own body, in your own being, then the more you become what they call the Adam Kadmon, which is the divine human, divine male and female that has activated the fulfillment of the Tree of Life, where you're now able to access dormant potentials and use them like an artist who has now discovered a new palette of colors. You can paint your new reality with the new spectrum.
Well, tell us then, how does someone like a normal, everyday person who doesn't study up on these things, how can they take this Tree of Life and use it in their own life? I mean, you said you put it up against your own self.
Yeah.
And this is where at the head, right? At the
crown chakra, pituitary gland area.
And then these here.
Or like the hemispheres of the brain.
The brain.
And
then you go down here.
Da'at's the throat.
The throat.
Gebura, Hesed, or Gebura and Gedula are the shoulders.
These two are the shoulders. This is the throat.
Yes.
Okay, these two are the shoulders. This is the heart.
Tiferet.
And then we go down to the hips.
Yes, and they combine together to create the third chakra, the solar plexus, because this is where we digest our emotions and our mental body, is because of an interplay of the two.
And then here we have...
Yesod is the second, sexual center.
The sexual center.
Your unconscious, your lunar energies.
And the one way on the bottom?
Malchut, your root chakra, where you focus all the energy at. So one simple exercise, if you learn the basic correspondence, as we mentioned, and do a prayer of it and focusing the colors in those parts of the body, the names, the planets, the invocation of the angels, and really ask your own guides and your angels and source to help bless that part of your body. So you can literally visualize a seed thought of something you want to manifest in your life, an intention. And you follow the same path of creation that the tree of life is showing you. So you would start with that idea of something you want to manifest, for example, as a seed thought, and clothe it in each environment of each of those sephira. So you would start in the crown, call on the angels there and the planetary energies, visualize that light filling up your intention, your seed, then you bring it to the next one, and it forms like a lightning bolt if you pass it down the body in the format that we have just disclosed, which is about grounding that force of the creator spark. And so it's like having a full spectrum vitamin when you activate all the sephira. So many people try to manifest things, but their thought form, the seed of intention, may not be properly clothed with the right harmonics to allow it to build up gravity to attract things to it that actually enables it to manifest into Malchut. Some people may get stuck in the mental body in Hod, or in the emotional body in Netzach, and wonder why they can't give birth to it. So the idea here is that you want to create continuity of and clarify your intention, let it be bouncing off like a set of mirrors in your body.
In other words, if you want to attract something into your life, let's say you want to attract some money or a job or...
And prosperity in the tree of life is found in the left shoulder, in Gedula, in the glory of the Creator.
So you hold it up this way.
So yeah, you would definitely want to focus on that area of the Chazmalim angels of Gedula. Yep.
Oh, that's the shoulder
yes,
here. Okay.
The Chazmalim angels, the name of God is El. It's Archangel Zadkiel. And this is the area of glory and mercy in the tree of life. The beneficent king, or the beneficent father king, is one of the archetypes you find there. Mm-hmm. This is the aspect of the king that wants to give everything to his kingdom, make sure everybody is happy. So this is the aspect of God consciousness that you may need to inculcate inside yourself. And sometimes it's not as literal as just being a block in that area. You may have other blocks somewhere else that are creating the lack of flow. For example, in your emotional body, like what part of yourself do you not love? So you want to maybe address your inner female, your inner Venus, where you're not receiving the blessings from the Creator. You may be calling out, but you need to trust and be vulnerable and be open to that receptivity of love in your life. So once you have a fuller amount of love in your center, it's like opening up a floodgate, a floodgate and a floodlight, a spotlight, so to speak, to illuminate all corners of your life. So if one planet feels out of balance, then it's not going to have harmony. Just like feng shui, if one corner is in balance, it's the same thing. Energy is not circulating, so it can't get to where it needs to go. Mm-hmm. So if you start studying more about the qualities and attributes, and then meditate on that in your body, it's one way to start it. There are many levels you can go with this, which is longer than what we have time to talk about today.
I'm sure.
So many other techniques.
You can't have learn the whole thing in one easy lesson.
I do teach classes on it, and I have many recordings of other past classes, which I can also
there is a page
make available
at the end
to viewers. They can contact me, because I also do other events as well, where I combine some of these principles in channel guided meditations that I do with groups during full moon and new moons and special alignments. As well as other types of individual work where we can help activate these centers in a client that I work with.
Well, there is a page at the end of the show with your contact information on it. So if anybody is interested in contacting Stephen, you can do so.
I go into many other areas besides the Tree of Life. But
oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Now, you are. I'm sure that there's probably. I'm sure that there are future shows ahead on different subjects with you, because you are like a walking encyclopedia or something with all these things.
I am a double Gemini, Sun and Moon, so I do like to research a lot.
Oh, really?
But also internalize. It has to be actualized by actually working with it, because otherwise it becomes just stuck in Hod in your mental body. And so you actually pray and meditate and ground in your body and actively want to connect with the angels just by setting your intention, even before you go to sleep. Simple prayers of really giving permission for your higher self, your angels, to connect with you. That you are knocking before the door can be opened. So
that's a good place for us to start.
So when he said that, knock and the door shall be open unto you, this is what he's referring to, knowing which room to knock upon. You don't go in the kitchen and expect to find a bed. It's the same thing in the Tree of Life, knowing what part of the body where the attributes of God are resonating naturally because of that sacred geometry that is manifest in all parts of nature, then you can have a more direct ability to connect with that. And it's knowing where to look is half the trouble.
So in other words, now what are you suggesting then that because what I like to do on the show too when I have a guest that has information such as this is give them an idea of what they can do for themselves at home in order to make something like this work for them.
Yeah, I mean, it really requires a little bit more studying in terms of really getting familiar with what those names I mentioned. I mean, you can find that online and research more so that as you understand more of the qualities of what these names are about, it helps you to kind of build up a mental framework that that kind of gets your left brain out of the way so you can be centered enough to actually receive what that name is a doorway to.
So if they have access to the internet, they can.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many books, and not even just like in the New Age section, but also in the religious section that will go into the basic attributes. Again, making sure that it's about this, the only difference you may find, aside from the lack of those two correspondences, is that some of the older traditions, or some of the, I should say, not necessarily older, but there is a parallel tradition where they actually do an inverted tree of life, where they have a similarity of what happened in Christianity with the Catholic Church, where they'll touch the left shoulder before the right. There are actually some Jewish traditions where they have the tree flipped, in the sense of saying that they'll have it also opposite, which is a problem. So you need to make sure that you're seeing the correspondences in this way, with Geburah on the right, because this is also a reference to the pillars of the temple of King Solomon's temple, but also the idea of any of your internal temple. So when you talk about also in Psalms, in the famous Psalms that a lot of people quote, "Thy rod and thy staff shall comfort me," as you walk through the valley of the shadows of the abyss, "Thy rod and thy staff shall comfort thee." It's a reference to the tree of life, where the rod is the right arm of God, the right pillar of the tree, and the staff connects to your feminine side, the left pillar. And you're walking in center, and that particular psalm is talking about number 13, which connects the heart center, Tifereth, to the crown, to Keter, because each of those lines that connect those circles are called pathways and relate to individual Hebrew letters, because there are 22 Hebrew letters. There are 22 pathways that connect the individual centers. They're pathways, which means that they're avenues of potential communication. Think of like planets conjuncting in astrology, where the energies combine. So there's a whole idea of where you're tracing out the pathways in your body, as well as with the meditation, and you can really ground more of a direct connection. And but it's a long study, and they can write to me, and I can give them more techniques,
Okay.
and recordings as well.
But in the meantime, though, let's get back to when we go to sleep at night.
Well, the idea again of simply tracing out the energy points in the body, as we mentioned here, and simply being able to call on those angels, is one way to start to activate this kind of inner tuning forks that we have, like crystal bowls that are all waiting to be vibrated. We simply need to know where they are and vibrate them with the appropriate sounds and intention. But the intention is the biggest part of how you carry your prayer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Intention.
Yeah, and then
intention is everything.
being able to reach out with the angels to assist you, and knowing that you have this resource space here. You just have to ask with more specific, clarity of where to ask and who to ask, because the Creator has set those energies in motion for specific reasons to help us more finely tune our conscious co-creatorship, and realize that we are co-sovereign, that we are part of that flame.
That's
or that
right, and
love
whatever
of God.
We want to manifest in our life, we can co-create that with the Creator.
Exactly, an asset for your highest good manifest as well, of course.
Right. So, all right. So at this point now, everyone is watching the show, and probably right afterwards they're going to probably turn in or something, maybe watch the news a little bit or something, and then go to bed. So what should they do when they go lie down?
Well, again, I would start with that simple cross idea of creating that understanding of how you can make the Kabbalistic cross, Ato, Malchut, Vegebura, Vegedula, Leolam, Adonai. That's usually done before and after Kabbalistic ritual to open your set fields, to prepare your mind and psyche that you're about to do a work of this nature. And then I would do a simple meditation. Even if you don't want to go down the whole tree, you can go down what they call the middle pillar, which is your spinal column. And that's the center of the tree of life, where you start from Keter, the crown, Da'at, Tifereth in the heart, Yesod in the second chakra, and Malchut in the feet. And that's a way of visualizing light connecting, flowing between each chakra that they overlay.
So
And calling the archangels and those energy centers to create that conduit. So you become the staff of God held in the hand of the Creator.
Wow.
To help really ground divine intention and be a clear vessel. Or at the very simple token of you just grounding your own intention in that simple middle pathway. So you can ask Metatron, Abaddon, who's the archangel of Scorpio, is like Shiva in a way, helps to remove obstacles. Michael for the inner sun, for the heart. Gabriel for the second chakra, and Sandalphon for the root. Call on those energies and really visualize it down the body. The white lights, your blue light in the throat, the golden light in the heart, the violet amethyst in the second chakra, then like the earth tones in the ground, and really call in that energy so that you're clearing the way for more of your higher self to come into your body, because your higher self and higher beings can only interact with you where you have clearer points to interface with them. So the Sephir are points where you can interface with the higher realms that exist within you as well as outside you.
All right, now if one does not know everything that you just said.
Yeah, it's fine. Of course,
Okay.
we can research it or start with.
Well, we can research and everything, but in the meantime,
no.
can they go down their chakras with intention without having to know all of these words and
Yeah,
names?
of course, absolutely. You can do simply asking that your higher self and your guides and your angels call out to the appropriate angels that correspond to that area and help to trigger a clarity of intention there and a flow of love and light into that part of the body. So that your temple walls are strong and your temple pillars are solid, as opposed to weak or turned at an angle where you have off-centeredness.
Right. So
the ideas about the middle pillar is about finding equilibrium between the two sides. You're about balancing your polarity, walking the middle path.
Right.
So those ideas of balance and scales of justice, the heart.
And that's your intention when you lie down.
You can focus on something you want to manifest as well and bring it down each chakra that way, so that you're planting a seed of that intention into the earth. And realizing that it's accelerating like a waterfall builds momentum before it crashes into the ground. You're building acceleration with your intention setting as you bring it down the body.
In other words, your intention is to bring prosperity into your life.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Or love, or whatever.
You can ask and try to see an image of what that means to you, and ask that the colors of those chakras or the sephira enclose it, literally, as if you're building up a ball within a ball, like a chi ball. If those who do qigong or tai chi can visualize, that texture, giving it more creative energy is how you help to manifest it faster. Because you have to have fun with the process too. It's your inner child needs to be engaged with it. So take it seriously, but also take it really playfully.
So in other words, and while you're doing all this, you start out
and breathe, of course. Breathing is an important part of it.
Right.
Setting your breath to help you make that snowball that you start off with in the crown become an avalanche by the time it reaches the feet. And use your sexual energy as you go lower as well to build that intensity, because you're really impregnating your own reality. You're penetrating your own soils of your own unconscious mind, and you are the receptacle, you are the egg to receive it as well.
And you're putting out your intention that you wish to bring a certain thing into your life, and you go down the whole gamut with the
Ideally,
intention.
you would do it in that lightning bolt formation, or a simplicity, you go down the center of the spine. And ask like you're building a rainbow cup to carry out your request to the earth.
Okay, well, there you have it.
To put it.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting, because if we can work it that way,
it's really becoming the rainbow bridge of love between the earth and the higher realms, and that's.
Well, I believe that our Creator, that God has given us everything we need here. We just have to know how to pick it up and run with it.
Absolutely.
It's something where. We can be co-creators in our own lives. We can bring into our lives what we would like to have, and we can be happy as far as all that's concerned.
Absolutely. And one last point I'll leave you with is that the actual tree can be placed as a calendar system, where in the new tree of life there are two new sephira, and from the year 2000, there's an evolution or an opening of Mother Earth's individual sephira within her own being. So she's moving up the tree of life from Malchut, which started in the year 2000 and is going to culminate with Keter in the year 2012 going into 2013. So this is like an opening where lessons are being triggered for the collective consciousness going up the tree of life.
So if we could have the tree back for a second.
But it's
Malchut is on the bottom.
Yeah, that represented the year 2000. Now there are two additional sephira which are not in this chart that would be just above that, and they correspond to the knees, and they deal with freedom and grace, and this is what I'm writing about and been channeling for years.
Oh, I see.
But they have to be included because in 2001 we went into the year of freedom, and what happened in 9/11, and that whole idea of liberty and freedom was tested for the collective consciousness.
Wow.
So like literally individual archetypes are brought up in a simple way or dramatic ways each year, so that we can learn the lessons finally that we can, so when we get to the crown, the end of the Mayan calendar, we can be open to the galactic center and receive unity.
So then from the bottom to the top, that's from 2000 to 2012. So that's a 12-year span.
Yeah, 2012 to 2013, because we're including Da'at. So yeah, it culminates and it starts, each Rosh Hashanah of each year is when each new center is triggered. So around September, October, the new energies come in of each year. So that's just a slight point of reference. But
new energies meaning what?
Meaning each of those centers are activated.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and so it's going to culminate with the opening of the galactic center of the crown chakra of the earth opening at the end of the Mayan calendar. And then that can come in and floodgate back down to Malchut and create the new kingdom.
Okay, tell me.
So it's a deep level.
we have a few minutes left, but tell me, at the end of the Mayan calendar, what do you think is going to happen exactly?
That's almost it's impossible to cover in a few minutes. But I mean, it's the evolution of consciousness where love, where Tiferet becomes the foundation and becomes manifest as Malchut. So the whole tree of life is getting upgraded so that love infuses literally. So there are increased energies of the sun. meaning not just love, but also the physical sun, are going to be baptized in the earth. We're at the height of a new sunspot cycle. There's an increased alignment to Keter, to the galactic center, where energies from the galactic center are going to be flooding our solar system more strongly. And then there are many other levels. There are many astronomical things going on that are culminating with that. The local gas cloud, shifts in the magnetic fields. Pretty much those are all symptoms or catalysts that are going to help transform the planet and the DNA of humanity. So we're going to go into an evolved planetary vibration where love is the foundation. So 24-strand DNA. Also, one big thing is that the higher positive extraterrestrials, our starry brethren, are going to also making themselves more directly known, especially in 2013. There'll be mass landings at that point or afterwards.
You really
in 2013,
expect
100% they'll be going on.
We're going to be seeing some
Well,
aliens?
they're going to because the Earth is going to become part of a larger community, and the government and military has known about this for years. They know about it now, which is why they're doing more desperate to tailspin it before they do their own disclosure. So this is a fulfillment of many shamanic prophecies that is absolutely going to happen at that around that time frame.
But we don't have anything to worry about.
No, because it's the good ones that are going to be coming in for once, in that sense, to help welcome the Earth in her new evolutionary state, because she's no longer just a separate planet that where we have our little Earth school experience, of war, terror, and love versus freedom and control. It's about really opening up to a sense of freedom on a whole new scale.
Do you think then it's going to lead to world peace?
Oh, 100%, absolutely, because we'll be at a whole vibration where only those thought forms will be sustainable. Yes. So it's going to be a huge change of all social structures, huge change of infrastructures. I mean, there might have to be there'll be a lot of physical shifts going on. So when that'll be interesting to see exactly how it physically manifests, but it will.
But we'll be okay.
Oh, the long-term picture, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah. There'll be some shakeups before that, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that another time.
Exactly.
Because in the meantime, we are.
Be in your heart.
Okay. Thank you so much, Stephen, for coming tonight. This has been a wonderful show, very interesting, and I'm sure our audience has learned something. This has been very interesting, really interesting.
My pleasure. Thank you too, Christina.
Okay, and everyone have a good night.